Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Huddle, the Review.com's weekly high school sports show. I'm Executive Editor Rob Toder of the Alliance Review, joined as always by Sports Editor Mike Brown. And this week, Mike, it's hard to believe, but we're in week 5 of the high school football season, and we are down to one unbeaten team left in the Review circulation area. That's the Western Reserve Blue Devils.
Yeah, and it's not a real surprise there. Andy, we said many times, has it rolling out there, and they just plug in new people and they just continue to roll, Rob.
Yeah, the Blue Devils travel to Mineral Ridge this week, and so they should be an easy 5-0. They're ranked in the top 5 in the state, number 1 in their region in the computer rating, so things are looking good for the Blue Devils. Sticking with the ITCL, Sebring took it on the chin for the first time this year. 48-28 loss at Lowville, always a tough place to play, and it doesn't get any easier this week for the Trojans because they host unbeaten McDonald.
Right, Rob. I took in half of that Sebring-Lowville game before I had to be back in the office last week, and I was surprised. Sebring had some trouble stopping them back, going right up the middle and cutting to the outside, so they're going to have to shore up some things on defense because their defense had played well up to last week. But boy, they've got a tall task this week. I mean, they need to really bring their A game against McDonald. Also
in the ITCL in the upper tier, United lost to Columbiana last week, 41-28, and they go to Jackson Milton this week. So good luck to the Golden Eagles. Let's turn our attention to the NBC. I think the game that kind of surprised us both was the Minerva Alliance game. Not so much the Minerva won because we both thought it was kind of a toss-up going in, but the fact that it was only 14-0 because I think we both thought it was going to be a high-scoring game.
Right, and that game was a 0-0 game for a long time last week. And, hats off to Minerva. They got some guys back who'd been injured, and, they had some guys play really well and got that at home. And Minerva's a tough place to play. If you're a visitor at Minerva, that's a tough out. And, surprisingly, though, but Alliance with all that young talent to get shut out, that was a big surprise to me, Ron.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the Lions go on the road and they will travel to Marlington Friday night. Marlington with some momentum now, a 38-13 win over West Branch last week.
Right, yeah, and again, that's good for the Dukes. They seem like some of their young talent is coming around. I know the young quarterback got in last week, did a really nice job, especially in the second half against West Branch. And, I think that's going to be a really good game come Friday night.
Okay. Now, the Warriors are down to 1-3. They are at home, and they will take on Canton South.
Yeah, last week West Branch, hung in there. They were 7-0 up on Marlington late in the first half. Marlington got that touchdown late, got momentum, came out, got another touchdown early in the third quarter, and then I think West Branch's defense kind of faded. And they just need to hold serve. They just need to get better on defense. Their offense is good enough to play with anybody this year, but their defense is just failed them, and which is surprising because they've got a lot of kids back from last year.
Yeah, they got it figured out. In Kansas South, we know traditionally pretty good offensive football team, so it's going to be a tough test for the Warriors as well. Let's jump back to Alliance real quickly, and they're on the road at Salem, another tough place to play. The Quakers coming off a decisive loss to Louisville last week, and they've had some struggles as well. So this is kind of a pick-em game too, I think.
Yeah, I look for this to be a high-scoring game because I think Alliance coming off a loss, I'm sure that didn't sit well with them. I look for Alliance to come out big this week offensively. I think they're going to score their share of points. I think Salem, with Weingart at quarterback, is going to score points too, so that could be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we thought that last week too.
Yeah.
So that tells you what.
Isn't that the truth?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, really, the big game I think everybody's looking at in the NBC is Louisville at Carrollton. They're both 4-0, and a lot of people are saying this is the NBC championship.
Yeah, it may be this year. Carrollton has a lot of veterans back, and compared to some of the other teams, Louisville has some kids back, lost some kids, but Louisville had a really good junior class back, and it could be. Although, when you look at the teams, and I don't mean to downplay Carrollton's success, but they've beaten Edison Local, they've beaten East Liverpool. Those teams are really struggling. So we'll find out this week how good Carrollton is against Louisville because they're going to have to play really well to hang with the Leopards.
Yeah, and I did make a mistake. Louisville's 3-1. They lost to Hoover in week 2. St. Thomas lost for the first time last week decisively against Canton Central Catholic. They've got some injury issues, but they're playing a winless Youngstown Christian team this week, and so they should be able to bounce back nicely.
I would think so. It depends on some of those injuries too, Rob, because Meglin, the quarterback, who I just think the world of, was one of those players who went down with an injury last week, and he is so important to that team. And hopefully that's not a long-term thing. We haven't heard one way or the other how that's going to go with that, but hopefully he'll be back sooner than later. I'm hoping.
He's not only just because of his talent, but I think emotionally he's a leader of that football team as well.
Absolutely, Rob.
All right. Well, also in the Portage Trail Conference, Southeast is on the road at Streetsboro. That's going to be a tough test for the Pirates. And Waterloo travels to Rootstown, kind of a pick-em game there as well. So we want to make sure that you check out the Alliance Review all week for previews of all these games. Coverage Friday night online on thereview.com. We'll have scoring updates. We'll have all the coverage of all the games in Saturday's Alliance Review and on thereview.com. So make sure you check out Pigskin Picks. You can win some great prizes by taking part in that contest. And watch how we do with Gridiron Guesswork. Not a great start for either one of us, but hopefully we'll bounce back this week. So for Mike Brown, this is Rob Toder. We'll see you at the stadium.